Go away, Baton.
That was
That's what the cops knock.
Go away, Baton.
They had a Baton channel.
The Master Network, keeping America baiting for 300 years. And now, Sweet Bang Tube.
Oh yeah, give me some. Cut me a piece. Oh, that's... Go away, Baton! Damn it.
Welcome to the iKnowBadeaux podcast.
Hey, everybody, and welcome to the iKnowBadeaux podcast coming at you from the Slice on Oak Studios. I am Mayor Dave Badeaux, the city of Brainerd, and with me, as always, is my brother.
Humpty Dumpty sat on a wall.
Oh, thank God that's on my list.
Well, that's wild.
Yes, Gabriel Johnson, save us.
Dave,
Yes,
how are you?
I'm excellent. Are you ready?
Let's do it.
All right, let's do it. First and foremost, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Jesse Huber.
Nice to be here again.
Is it Huber?
It's Huber.
It is Huber. Okay.
Don't ever call me Huber.
Yeah, I was going to say, as soon as I said it, I was like, fine.
I had a few nicknames in high school too that
Huber.
relate a little bit to the last name
Okay.
that starts with P, but replaced the H.
Puber?
Puber?
Puberty?
Puber?
Puberty, puberty?
Pubes.
Pubes.
Oh,
Oh,
pubes. I like that.
Why would you
Hey.
tell us that?
I have no idea.
What's up, pubes?
Well, Jesse, we're not giving you 30 seconds to explain yourself today.
You just did.
Yeah, I was going to say. I
Ladies
give you a
and,
new fact.
ladies and gentlemen, this is the Be Kind Rewind 2006 Part 2. So, if you're joining us for the first time ever, this is the Be Kind Rewind, the part of the episode or the part of the podcast where we take a year and go back and look at everything that happened. Part 1 is the pop culture episode, music, television, news. But part 2 is all about the movies. And so we have a selection of movies here from 2006 that we're going to talk about. And we're just going to, wax intellectual, get into it a little bit, talk about what you remember, talk about going back and watching some of these, and then most importantly, talk about some of them as well.
Heck yeah.
Jesse, before we get started, your thoughts on 2006 as a movie?
There were some pretty heavy hitters in 2006. A lot of good comedies, a lot of good action flicks. Yeah, it was a pretty well-rounded year for movies.
Okay, yeah. I wouldn't have thought that about 2006. I didn't really think about it, just like, 2006.
When you start looking back at them and you're, oh yeah, that came out in 2006.
A lot of stuff. You guys, initial take before we get started?
Initial take was like, oh, I think that's when Cars came out.
This is when Gabe Johnson was deep in the throes of fatherhood. I as well. So we'll talk a little bit of Cars for like 2 seconds later on. But before we do, there is a movie here. And Gabe, you brought this one up. So we're going to get started right with it right away. Ladies and gentlemen, the Da Vinci Code.
We are in the middle of a war to protect a secret so powerful that if revealed, it would devastate the very foundations of mankind.
This is a message your grandfather left you.
He left us.
Might be some kind of anagram.
Can you break it?
Demons, omens, codes, monks. Da Vinci.
Movie of the year
What?
before it came out.
Oh. And then it hit theaters.
Then it hit theaters. So it was a book
Yeah.
by Dan Brown. Huge book.
Huge book.
Wildly successful.
Yes.
I don't know if you guys have read any Dan Brown books.
Have not.
His chapters are about a page and a half each.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And it's a cliffhanger. Every page there's a cliffhanger. Like it's
It sounds exhausting.
Yeah.
But he said it was based on evidence, based on true stuff.
Yeah.
There was a whole industry of nerds who liked real books,
Yes.
who wrote books debunking him, and saying Dan Brown's a fraud and a bad writer.
Sure.
But he sells more books than all of you, so
Yeah.
I think he's a good writer.
I would, not going to lie, if you're selling books That means you're a successful author.
Yep. But anyway, they decided to make a movie out of it. They got Ron Howard to come in to direct it. Oh, Ron Howard,
Continue.
big name. They could have gotten Nicolas Cage. Maybe they could have. I imagine they could. Pretty much anybody can get Nicolas Cage.
He'll do anything.
Nicolas Cage,
He'll do
probably.
anything.
On the list of available, Nicolas Cage.
Whoa, Cage!
They decided to cast Tom Hanks
Yes.
as Robert Langdon, the lead character.
Much to the chagrin of about
America.
Yeah, anyone that ever read the book.
Yeah.
That's the one thing I remember with this more than anything is nobody would stop talking about how Tom Hanks was the worst possible pick for this character.
Yeah. This is a Harvard professor.
Yeah.
Who can solve all of the puzzles. This isn't a guy who just felt like running.
Yeah. And screaming.
Yeah.
Isn't the whole movie him just going, ah! Ah! That's the only thing I remember about that movie. Is him yelling a lot.
So I went back and watched it. I remember not thinking it was anything spectacular initially. I was pleasantly surprised by it. I thought it was okay. But yeah, my notes here are two things. Tom Hanks plays Tom Hanks with long hair.
Yep.
And fucking Ron Howard. That's literally what I wrote. Like, because halfway through,
I think Ron Howard did a fine job with what he was given.
I forgot it was Ron Howard, and halfway through, I just said, fucking Ron Howard. I knew, there was a moment in this where I was like, this is fucking Ron Howard. Not enough titties.
Right. That's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
But Tom Hanks' hair,
Yeah.
you bring it up. As soon as he was cast, he started thinking about what do I need to look like?
Yes.
He said, okay, I need long, straight, flowing hair
Beautiful
because I'm a Harvard professor. I'm a bit of an eccentric.
That's what they're known for.
But Tom Hanks has curly hair. So they talked, do we do a wig? And Hanks said, no, that takes too much time to put on every day. So he contacted some hair chemists.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, perfect.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
And it said, can you make me look like Dennis Miller?
Circa 1993.
But they used chemistry, so they just used product to keep his hair straight. That was Tom Hanks' real hair in that movie.
Why? Okay, first of all, that blows my mind because I actually wrote Tom Hanks in a wig. That's crazy. Second of all, though, why wasn't there Pro-V commercials for this then? Why was it?
Because it looks terrible. Nobody would buy it.
Do you want to look like this?
No.
It's really funny to me because this was after everyone had the long hair. This was post the
Grunge.
Yeah. 1993.
think of Tom. I mean, think of the other Tom, Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise had already kind of moved past the long hair by this point, and he's back in Mission Impossible with the short hair again.
I don't remember Tom Cruise having long hair.
Oh God, yeah,
He's got good hair.
yeah, he's got great hair. Magnolia is probably the best. Where oof, yeah,
Okay.
that man's got some
All
hair.
right, I'll check it out.
Tom Hanks needs chemistry and his hair still sucks.
Jesse, what are your thoughts on Da Vinci Code?
Yeah, I mean, I never read the book, which I kind of regret. I suppose I still can.
It still exists.
I do remember going to that movie when it came out.
Everybody. did.
Oh yeah, everybody went to that movie. I didn't hate it.
Yeah, I think it's a.
Yeah, it's a B version of the National Treasure.
Oh, absolutely. It's
the only movie I've ever watched and said the book is better. Every other time, the movie is better than the book. This one, the book's better.
it's one of my biggest pet peeves. Is the book being better than the movie is a big pet peeve for me because they're two wildly different medias, right? You're not even the same experience. That's like saying, that, oh, this flower is not as good as the song, right? Like, I mean, come on, that's ridiculous.
Right. There's no imagination in a movie. You're watching the story unfold.
Yes. Yeah. But I can see it in this aspect because everywhere along the way, it's just kind of like off center a little bit. Like the Tom Hanks casting, I get it. I get why people are upset because it's like, yeah, that's really not a great casting for that movie, but it sold tickets, right? I will say this: there is a sequel to it, and I think all of us have seen the sequel, Angels and Demons.
It's Angels and Demons. It's not really a sequel. I mean,
It's the next book.
it's the next book.
Yes.
Dan Brown did a series on
Yes.
Robert Langdon
Yes.
that are unrelated, but
I mean, well, okay, so
he almost tried to go Bonds with it.
sure, I'll take it back. It's very Jack Ryan, right? It's a character that gets reused in other stories. I don't even remember that movie. I saw it. I don't even remember it.
I know it exists, but yeah, I
Yes.
don't even remember watching it or if I did watch
Yeah.
it. I don't-
Yeah, at the end, he jumps out of a helicopter from 2,000 feet with a 3-foot towel and lands safely on,
Nice.
on the
The
Sistine
Harvard
shaft.
professor.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
This is what Gabe likes to do.
Yeah, I don't think I saw that
Gabe
movie.
likes to take movies
Maybe I
from
blocked it out.
Gabe likes to take movies from a decade ago, or even in some cases 20 years ago, and then tell you the exact ending of the movie.
It's been out long enough.
Spoilers.
Yeah. Last week was here's the entire first season of Dexter.
Yes. Yeah.
Go watch it.
No, I cut most of that out of the episode because I was like, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that to
You're
our
going to do a
listeners.
spoiler alert on Dexter season 1?
Yeah, part of the whole reason of doing these episodes is like us going back and watching this content. So if you're a listener and you're watching, the goal would hopefully be that either you're following along with us or going back and enjoying
Are
it
you
as
getting
well.
paid by Dexter?
No, I'm not. I'm not.
So
Well, let me blow your mind here for a second though as well. Did you know there's a third movie from this?
the lost symbol.
Well, is that another one? Is there 4? No, there is a
Dan Brown wrote a lot of books.
Well, it is called The Inferno, and it is also starring Tom Hanks in the same role, and it's from 2016. I don't even remember that ever happening.
No, did not.
Yeah.
he
Did
did
they
not hear
like
about-
completely remove Dan Brown / Da Vinci Code from it, and it was just The Inferno?
No, I think that was one of Dan Brown's books.
It is.
Well, no,
it
I
is-
know, but I mean, I feel like they tried to sneak it past us. Like, not another Dan Brown movie. Not falling for that shit again.
It's kind of like M. Night Shyamalan. You just
You're
stop
right.
calling it M. Night Shyamalan.
Right.
You're like, no, this is just a movie, guys. It's just
It's a movie with Tom Hanks.
And then you,
Solving mysteries.
and then you go to it
riddles.
and you see his name come up and you go, oh, why didn't I look into this movie?
Yeah, there's no surprises here. Also directed by Ron Howard.
Jesus.
It's 2016. I'd never even remember.
Oh my
this
gosh,
being a
wasn't he
thing.
doing Solo that year?
I don't know. I am so confused by this. And now, to be fair, I will say this because I did watch 2 movies for this particular episode that both ended up not being 2006. One was The Constant Gardener, ended up being 2005. And then I watched Smoking Aces, which I remember really enjoying. And I was like, oh, it's great because IMDb says it's from 2006. It didn't come out till January of 2007.
No, everything that I've seen has Smoking Aces as 2006.
I thought so as well. I watched it and then found out, oh no, this is 2007. So we'll talk about it next time.
Okay.
But yeah, so it could be that this movie came out. Yeah, maybe it never came out. Maybe this isn't even actually a thing. It says right on the thing, right on the poster, the Da Vinci Code and Angels and Demon were just the beginning. That's on the poster.
Okay. I was exactly wrong.
No, they were building on the lack of success.
Oh man, I don't think we need to dive too much further into this, but I will say that the concept and the idea I do enjoy. The symbols in paintings is something that's actually very interesting to me. I went to art school. I had to take a class on this specific actual subject,
Symbiology.
and specifically in old paintings and stuff. Like, why are things the way that they are? I have an entire folder on my phone, on an old computer, and on my new computer that are all images from various different cultures in history that all have the same, literally the same fucking thing. It's fucking wild.
It makes you wonder too, because they
It's
weren't.
wild.
Yeah.
What's the pyramids? It's the hero's story. It popped up all over the world.
Yes.
Yeah.
But
Oh
this
yeah,
is-
they found hieroglyphics in like what, South America?
Yes. And it's crazy because this is wildly specific. It's 2 pillars with a figure in the center. The figure's making the same hand gesture in all of them, which is in some instances a pagan or satanic thing, which is interesting about with the Da Vinci Code, them taking it down. It's literally the entire thing, the placement of the moon, which is sometimes symbolized by something else, which is, again, in the movie. Very cool concept. Utter bullshit. Right, like you get to the end of the movie and you're like, okay, calm down. They're trying to make it like this big.
They're trying to make it a movie.
Should have been J.J. Abrams and Nicolas Cage.
I don't remember any
Jerry
lens
Bruckheimer.
flares in that movie.
Yeah, no lens flares.
We needed a few more.
Lens flares is a tactic, and I would say an artistic vision that needs to come back. I just watched Die Hard again for Christmas. The amount of lens flares happening in that movie is just, it's beautiful.
Watch the 09 Star Trek and you will retract that statement.
Nothing but
That
lens
movie
That
was
movie's
just
brutal.
Well, you bring up J.J. Abrams, so can we move on from Da Vinci? You guys okay with that? Speaking of J.J. Abrams,
And lens flares.
Mission Impossible 3.
Yes.
Stand by to go live. On my mark. 5,
You have a wife, a girlfriend?
4, 3,
Whoever she is, I'm gonna find her.
2,
I'm gonna hurt her.
1.
And then I'm gonna kill you right in front of her.
Execute.
You will never get what you want! You don't think I'll do it?
I cannot believe he did that one too.
Well, you can if you went back and
He
watched
has
it.
dipped his little hands into some of the biggest franchises and just shat all over them. I'm sorry, man. I am not apologizing for that.
That's high praise.
You know, Jesse, I was really happy that you were coming on for this episode because I know that you hate J.J. Abrams. And I forgot that J.J. Abrams directed Mission Impossible 3 until I started watching Mission Impossible 3. And it was the same fucking thing as the
It's obvious. You can just tell.
Yes.
Everything he touches, you can smell that he's had his hands in it.
This smells rather JJ. This was his first actual theatrical, full-length theatrical release.
Yeah, because he'd just done television before that, right?
He had done some other little things.
Well, Lost started in 2004, and I know that he had a hand in that because usually he gets his hand in it and then he dumps it.
Yeah.
And then sometimes comes back to try to finish it.
They have to
And that's a
rewrite it.
bigger
Well,
disaster.
he can't finish a story to save his
Oh,
life.
no.
And that's his problem. Same thing with Lost. And he actually, Tom Cruise basically recruited him specifically off of the show Alias.
Binge watched 2 seasons of
Right, that
Alias.
was him too.
And then
And the same thing happened with Alias, apparently. I never really watched it, but apparently it just falls apart the last couple seasons. We're like, what the fuck is even happening?
The only thing I can say I like from him, and this was him, wasn't it? You remember Fringe?
Yes.
I remember it. I don't remember watching
That's another
it.
one. Never finished. I've tried 3 separate times to finish that show, and I can't. It's only like 3 seasons.
Oof.
It gets so convoluted at the end. Is it 5? I thought it was only 3.
I thought it might have been 5.
Maybe I only made it to 3 and then gave up
I
3
honest to
separate
God,
times.
that's probably the only thing I really can say
Super
that
cool
I
show. Super fucking cool show.
Until it's not.
Until I.
It's J.J. Abrams.
Until you get lost. Yeah. Wait, is there a story here?
Wait, hold on. Do things actually have to connect at some point?
It's like an X-Files type thing.
Sure.
Alternate dimensions and
Yeah,
aliens
yeah.
and monsters and stuff. Really cool.
Yeah?
Really cool for a while. For me. Maybe other people have finished it and absolutely loved
It's
it.
good. Actually, the ending wasn't too bad on that one, if I
Okay.
don't recall. Because what's his face?
The kid from the Mighty Ducks.
Was he in the
one?
Mighty
Which one?
Ducks too?
Conway?
No. Jason.
Adam Banks.
What the heck was his name?
Fulton.
Peter. K-
Goldberg.
He was
the
he was
scientist
in
guy or the kid?
Oh, that's
The
Peter
guy?
Noble.
Okay.
Oh, he's great because he was on like Lord of the Rings. He was the crazy king, wasn't he?
He was like the worm tooth guy, I think, wasn't
Or
he?
what was his?
Emilio Estevez.
No, not Emilio Estevez. Oh man.
Hans.
No, he was on one of them cheesy '90s sitcoms.
This is the greatest content we've ever had, Dave.
Just Google it.
I'm telling you, you're thinking of the kid from the Mighty Ducks.
The kid that could skate really fast but couldn't stop.
Joshua
Oh.
Jackson.
Joshua Jackson?
Yeah.
Is that the kid from the Mighty Ducks?
Might have knuckle pucked it.
See, I don't remember that.
Probably did.
Now we're just digging deep.
Yeah, that's totally the kid from the Mighty Ducks.
Oh, it is?
Oh, yeah.
I forgot he was in that.
that Conway?
Is that his name? The main kid
Yeah.
Yeah.
whose mom gets with
That was my
Emilio
first
Estevez?
guess.
Yeah.
And he said no. So I was like,
He said,
I thought you said Emilio.
That was much later. That was much later.
We had 8 guesses in by then.
Anyways, let's go back to Mission Impossible.
Mission
I was
Impossible.
gonna say, how did we get on J? Oh, that was my fault.
Yeah, that was your fault. So J.J. Abrams, right? Interesting. This is his first film. And it might still be, but it, at the time was the most expensive budget for a first-time director.
Yep.
$175 million.
How do people throw that much money at JJ time and time again?
Well,
Oh
so
yeah.
this,
Hey, you want another franchise? Oh, hey, you want another one?
this started
Star Wars, Star Trek.
This started it.
Okay.
Because I remember really liking this movie. So I was a Mission Impossible guy. Loved the show, loved the reruns, loved the 80s show. Mission Impossible 1, I was the only kid that I knew that was like super excited for it. Then Mission Impossible 2 came out, and it was a shit-fest dog pile of nonsense from John Woo. So this comes out, and this is like, holy shit, we saved it. It's great. This is amazing. Philip Seymour Hoffman,
Oh yeah.
one of the better villains of all time.
I tend to agree. That's
Yes.
pretty much the only reason I watched this movie.
Yes. Yes. I remember at the time loving this movie. I went back and rewatched it, realized it was J.J. Abrams, realized, and it's okay.
Yeah, it's a perfectly fine movie.
Yes.
But Philip Seymour Hoffman
Yes.
fucking crushes that role.
He was
Great
such
role.
a good actor.
And he's on screen for like 15 minutes in the whole movie.
And he plays the same, all of his scenes are exactly the same. Every time he's on the screen, he's doing the exact same shtick. And I get it, like that's the character, but there's no arc to it. There's that,
He's just a menace.
and then you want to talk about not knowing how to end things.
Oh God. Drove me nuts. His death at the end? His shoe came off. That's how you know he's dead.
No, it's like they didn't know what they were going to end it, and they were like, "Oh, fuck, they didn't. It's too late. He already went home. How do we
Toss a shoe out there.
show that he's dead?"
I get a close up on his face, and there's his shoe.
And he is no more. Yeah, I was really, really surprised because I held this high on my list for Mission Impossible movies. And then like watching it, I was like, this isn't as good as I remember.
Yeah.
And then I like looked it up in terms of like rankings on IMDb, it is just above John Woo in 2, which is crazy to me because that movie is dog.
I haven't seen any Mission Impossible since this one,
Oh,
but I
they're
know
good.
they've gotten good.
Yeah, they're good.
Good raps.
Yeah. They're actually so what he did in this is he kind of formulated where things would go, and I do like that. Which he does an okay job.
He just doesn't finish.
He can't
where they-
finish it.
where they
He-
get.
Yeah.
Yeah. He'll show you here's some pieces.
He'll
that
create a
work.
bunch of story arcs.
Somebody else finish those.
God. So the app.
Jesse's got PTSD over there.
Yeah, that Star Wars trilogy just fucked me up.
They're gonna give.
That's just a travesty that you could give the guy Star Trek and Star Wars.
I know, as soon as
that
I heard-
that should be illegal.
Yeah.
Yeah, as soon as I heard Star Wars when they were first talking all that
Yeah.
stuff, I'm like,
No.
please don't be J.J. Abrams.
No.
And they're like,
Yeah.
J.J. Abrams is directing the new Star Wars movie. I'm like, oh boy.
And it is.
Didn't they swap him out though?
They did.
They-
But he was still in control of the story though.
Obviously not enough.
Yeah. Well. Yeah. He was.
Or
he-
just
much.
enough.
Yeah.
Exact same.
He wants to be Steven Spielberg. It's really what he wants to be, and he's not good at
was
it.
it him? Did he do Super 8?
Yes.
Okay.
Which is very.
I do
he's
like that. I like
That's
that
good,
movie.
probably my
I-
favorite of his movies.
Because that is
It's a
him
very good movie.
doing Steven Spielberg.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, didn't Spielberg produce that?
Probably.
Probably.
I know it was a bad robot production.
Yeah.
Okay.
So let's finish up Mission Impossible 3 real quick. The thing that drove me the most nuts about this was the one-liners. Scott threw out the one. Fucking Humpty Dumpty sat on a wall.
broad daylight at the Vatican, sitting on top of a wall. Oh, but you covered the camera. You're cool. Nobody else could see you.
Did a real cool little thing where he shoots the magnet thing onto the camera, which happens in way too many movies.
Yeah.
That's like been redone too many times. I guess it makes sense. Like if you shoot a magnet next to electronics, it'll screw them up. But he does that, and then he does his little hook shot thing up there.
With film, does it with digital?
I don't know. Well, yeah, because it would mess with the.
You put a magnet by your computer screen.
Yeah.
It'll.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But he uses his little hook shot thing, runs up the wall. You know, you're like, oh, that's kind of, cool gadget. And he gets to the top, and the music kind of goes dun 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 dun. Humpty Dumpty sat on a wall.
Looks at the camera.
Looks
right at the camera.
Breaks the third wall.
Oh.
Fourth
wall. Sorry.
Humpty Dumpty sat on a wall.
Humpty Dumpty sat on a wall.
Terrible. Absolutely terrible.
And then the scene continues.
Well, yeah, and then the scene continues too. That's the other thing. It's like, okay, well, cut, the end of movie, roll credits, which would have been a great way to end that movie. But then there's also the other one that just I couldn't stand. He does again. It's always when there's a cool stunt, right? So I'm gonna do this fulcrum. You know, he's gonna shoot a thing over
do
here.
the fulcrum, which it's a pendulum, idiot. It's not even a fulcrum. You're swinging.
It turns out if I swing from here, I can go over here, right? So he swings from one building to another building, right? And let's go and smashes and sliding down this glass building that's, conveniently
that one
30 degrees.
Yeah, I was going to say it was like almost a pyramid.
Yeah.
Which was kind of cool.
Kinda
when
cool.
he lands on the glass, starts sliding down, turns, one shots the one guy, one shots the other guy.
Yes.
Keeps going down.
Gets to the end.
That would be a fun sequence in a video game.
And he does his own stunts
Yes.
in these movies.
Yeah.
So that's extra cool.
Yeah, it's cool. But then Ving Rhames, who also very cool, just goes, I knew he'd make it.
He made it. He made it. I knew he'd make it.
Just stop. Just stop. Cut the like you keep showing me cool things and then ruining it with, and he again looks right at the camera. Looks right at the camera and says it. I knew he'd make it.
I knew he'd make it.
J.J. Abrams, folks.
Is he trying to have like an I'll be back moment or something?
I don't know what he's trying to do. I don't know. I also really enjoyed that they're in the middle of Shanghai and their cell phone doesn't work. And it's like,
I gotta get a signal. You're in a giant city.
you're in probably the most technologically advanced city other than Tokyo.
I kept looking. I was like, are they like in a tunnel or something? Why?
They're next to a park. Friggin', there's nothing but technology all around them, but their flip phones don't work.
Yeah, and he just all he has to do is that when he has to call the guy to let him know or he has to send a message or something?
He just needs to connect with him and say, hey, I got it.
Whatever it is, you need to press a button.
Yes.
So he hands the phone off to the other guy so he can shoot at the people. And as he's down there shooting at him, he goes, let me know when you get a signal so I can tell you what to do, which is press a button.
Which is send.
Yeah.
Hello? Hello? What? No, I'm in Shanghai. All right, that's enough of J.J. Abrams.
The scene when they first capture the villain, what's his name? Davian?
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
But they have him strapped in the plane.
Yeah.
And they're trying to get the information out of him. And he's just talking to Tom Cruise like, what's your name?
Yep.
You got a girlfriend? You got a wife? And he just starts telling him what he's going to do to her. Oh, fucking chilling.
Philip Seymour Hoffman, God rest his soul, unbelievable in this film. Unbelievable. And I do appreciate that his part in that, where he should be over the top, doing some maniacal freaking laughter. He's just sitting there, just like, you're done. You're done.
Yeah, you're done. You
done.
have no idea what you're doing.
Yep.
You're in over your head.
Yep.
And you're going to regret it.
Yep.
It's more realistic.
Yeah, I love it. I everything about him in this movie is fantastic. And then the rest of the movie.
And then there's the rest of the movie.
But the stunts are cool. Stunts are really cool. Just all the JJ stuff can get bent.
What I'm selling
And who I'm selling to is the last thing you should be concerned about. Ethan.
Let's move on to another franchise that hopefully he never gets his hands on. James Bond.
Yeah.
Casino Royale.
It's gonna happen.
You just
just spoke it into existence, dude.
As soon as I saw these stacked after one another, I was like, it's too late. You already wrote it on this piece of paper here.
Your file shows no kills, Bond. But to become a 00, it takes 2.
How did he die?
Your contact? Not well.
You needn't worry. The second is...
Yes. Considerably.
So Gabe, not a fan of James Bond.
I wouldn't say I'm not a fan. I've never seen a James Bond movie.
Well, that would make you not a fan.
I may like it. I just haven't seen it.
Sure, but you can't possibly be a fan if you've never seen it.
I like martinis.
Okay, well, all right. Well, Scott, you don't like James Bond quite like I do.
No, I like some of the older ones. I like GoldenEye and what's the one with Benicio?
Ooh, that's not an older
Spectre?
one. Yeah, that's
That's the one with the guy that only had 2.
no, that's,
License to Kill.
yeah. Benicio's not in that. Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
he
he
is.
is. Oh yes,
He's
he
like the
is.
henchman. He's like the
Benicio
second.
del Toro. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. That is License to Kill.
Yeah,
I
I love that movie.
That is a Richard Donner style 80s.
That was
flick.
what's his face? Yeah, he did 2.
Yes, Timothy Dalton.
Timothy Dalton. Yep.
Yeah, the guy from Hot Fuzz.
Yeah.
He was so hilarious in that because normally he plays pretty serious. Or like he was Neville Sinclair on The Rocketeer.
So I am obsessed with this movie.
Casino
It's a good
Royale.
movie.
Mainly because I love James Bond. Absolutely obsessed with James Bond. But this one was like the take on the franchise that was like, okay, we can do something different. And at the time it was like being touted as like, oh, it's this gritty over the, a little bit more.
Gritty reboot. This was the time of
Yes.
the gritty reboot.
He was like the rebellious Bond, wasn't he?
Yeah,
Daniel
yeah.
Craig always kind of played that.
Yeah, but the reason why I was like obsessed with it, and I still hold it very, very high in esteem, is because I love the original Bonds. I like a lot of the ones along the way, but like you get to a License to Kill, and it's like, no, you can do other movies with this character. They don't have to be slapsticky nonsense. Which Pierce Brosnan, everyone thinks that he's this great Bond. I will argue he may be my least favorite James Bond.
He has 2. He has one
good
and one okay.
Yes,
and the other ones are not very good.
I wouldn't even say not
one
very good. They're probably
one
the worst.
okay, one bad, one terrible.
Actually, Dalton was supposed to do GoldenEye.
Yes. Yep. And there was actually the dispute over the rights that happened with the James Bond movies. Long story, but that's why Dalton didn't continue. Everybody thinks like, oh, Dalton got fired. No, there was a dispute over who had the rights for it. And then he went on and was like, no, I'm an actor. I'm going to go do other things. Pierce Brosnan's first GoldenEye is fantastic. After that, you get one decent one and then it's done.
Tomorrow Never Dies. Pretty okay.
Yeah.
After that.
Is that the one with the ice castle?
No, that's
Or what was
that's
that
Die
one?
Another Day.
That was Die Another Day? Oh, yeah.
That's the one that I said that when I was
I
watching that.
remember seeing that in theaters too. Yeah.
I watched it in theaters and I thought this is the last
Yeah.
Pierce Brosnan and James Bond movie we're going to get. You can't go anywhere from here.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's the setting for this, right? Like, okay, we're going to now create a Bond that is a little more gritty. And they go back to the very first book. And this is one of the few books I've actually, so I say read, but I didn't actually read them. I was a graphic designer. Well, I was a graphic designer. And so I would listen to books on tape. I just found that it got me through the day. So I got into quite a few of these. I got maybe 5 James Bond books. And they're interesting. They're very interesting because the way he writes is very sing-songy, and the movies that they title with the titles none of them are right. Like they'll take a story and pluck a piece out of it and then call it a name from a different book, so it's all kind of jumbled around. But Casino Royale is fairly close to what the initial story was, and it's enjoyable. It's an enjoyable take on that character, and I think it's really funny that people at the time were like, "What is going on with this Daniel Craig?"
Yeah, the blonde Bond controversy. Yeah, that was a whole spiel.
Which he's not even really that blonde. Such a weird thing to be.
That's what they call him, though, the blonde Bond.
But fast forward 20 years, he's like the most popular Bond.
Yes. Yeah. Also has a couple stinkers, though. I will say the movie that follows this, Quantum of Solace, is potentially my least favorite Bond movie. It starts off really good and then turns into dog at the end. But it's just a fun movie. It's good. It's James Bond, which I love. It's one that I had actually read the book of. And so I was very excited for this and very happy with the way that it turned out. And then just, now we get to have a series continue in a direction that isn't invisible cars.
Right.
And surfing down.
I forgot about that.
Tidal waves.
I haven't watched hardly any Daniel Craig Bond movies. What kind of cool gadgets does he have?
So it's less gadgety. It is a little gadgety, but it's less, it's more
like action.
Yeah.
Sequences, like huge, like him on top of buildings that are blowing up. And
they make it a big deal. Like when he'll get a gadget, they like make it a big deal to like kind of make fun of, like, what did you think it was going to be? You know?
Okay.
Like,
who even played Q in that?
So, oh God, no, I gotta remember. Was there crossover? Because
I think wasn't in Casino or one of them there was a crossover.
Yeah, because there's a weird.
Because Judi Dench,
she
was isn't Casino Royale her last role?
No,
she was in a couple.
Okay.
Yeah, she's in all of his except she died.
Really?
In one
She
of them,
died in the I forgot which
Yeah.
one. If it was the last one or the second to last one.
Let's look up and see if there is the crossover on this one. I don't even know if Q is in this one. Eventually, I'm not seeing him in this one. I'm trying to remember exactly what happens. But anyways, so the Q branch type stuff like kind of comes in later on, but they kind of make fun of it. Like they're more the IT guys than they are, rocket pens.
Right.
But there is, like he pricks his thumb in the glove box and it sends them his blood so they can analyze what drug he's been given. There's stuff like that.
Okay.
But it's a good flick. It again does that weird thing where the villain just kind of gets eschewed. But in this, they explain it in that he's just a pawn, right? And I wish they would have kind of done that with the Mission Impossible, where it's like, if you're gonna just have a shoe death,
right?
Yeah, like then show that there's something bigger.
Well, and they even say that in Mission Impossible 3 at one point. They say he's one of you get rid of him and a dozen more will pop up.
Yeah, but you didn't play him that way.
No, you didn't at all.
Yeah,
that's a one line in a movie that doesn't follow the rest of the movie.
And in this, it's very different. The guy that plays Le Chiffre,
Oh, he's a great actor.
A fantastic actor. And his role in it is, this dude is playing with borrowed time as well. It's about poker, which is a little weird.
Yeah. He was the guy that his eye would bleed.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. But they're both playing with borrowed money type of thing. And this one guy's stakes are very high. Bonds are that the world will end.
Torture him and that was
cut the hole in the bottom of the chair.
That was
this is the thwapping of the sack. Final thoughts on it though. A fun movie.
I loved it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I was a big Bond guy. And excuse me, after Pierce, I was really curious to see how they took it, and I thought he made a really good replacement.
Yeah. Yeah, I think he does. And I think there are his movies, Quantum of Solace is terrible, Skyfall's really good. Spectre's cool if you're a Bond fan because it goes back and it's like, all right, now let's start talking about like the stuff from the old 60s movies, which is a cool idea. And then No Time to Die is terrible and you should never watch it. Ever.
Okay.
Don't ever watch it, ever.
I remember watching the poker scene and being very upset because it was so painfully obvious that he was giving a false tell. I was like, come on. I don't remember what it was, but I remember being like,
Like touching
every
his
time
eye.
you do something like super obvious.
Whoops,
it's not like a little eye twitch or like it's a sniff or something.
Yeah,
It's like you brush your hair back or something like big, like a big motion.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna make this play now.
Oh, whoops! I've got good cards.
Or
Come
was
on.
that when his eye bled and he'd have to
I don't remember.
dab it?
Yeah, he's got like a twitch, and he like kind of holds his finger to his temple.
Yeah,
Yeah. But this is interesting too because this is the start of the No Limit Hold'em poker craze as well. This is when that was.
Oh,
like,
06, 07, that was everywhere.
this is when
It's about when we,
This is when we started playing poker. This is when playing poker on a weekly basis.
Yeah.
This is when it got on ESPN.
Yeah, Texas Hold'em
Yep.
was like...
Yeah. So it is interesting because that's not the game that's played in the book, obviously. They don't play No Limit Texas Hold'em in the book from I think it's from the 50s. It's a good little touch though, and I like it. It's a game that you can follow along with. Like Blackjack's another one you can follow along with in a
yeah, it's
movie.
so easy.
So you see it a lot in movies because it's very simple to follow along with.
that's what the older Bond movies.
Baccarat.
Baccarat.
Always Baccarat, which I still don't understand the rules of Baccarat.
That's what Austin Powers played.
Yeah. Bunko. They keep saying Bunko.
No, that was blackjack.
Yes. Yeah. Austin Powers is Blackjack.
Okay.
I'll
also-
stay. You have 7, sir. I also like to live dangerously.
This is the only film in which they use the actual recipe from the martini. So, and it is straight lifted from the book. 3 measures of Gordon's, 1 of vodka, half a measure of quinellier. Shake it very well until the ice is cold and add a large slice of lemon. That is the only time that the actual, like the shaken not stirred, the only thing that's even remotely close to that in the books.
You've been a bartender before.
Yes.
Have you ever stirred a martini?
No, but I understand the idea behind it.
Okay.
So shaking it waters it down more. So I can understand someone saying, ice it, twirl it, spill it.
I've seen them stirred, but they still just pour in a cup of ice and then stir in the ice and then filter it out.
Yeah.
So it's still watered down.
Yeah, technically the shaking of it waters it down more.
Yeah.
I actually heard a theory one time, and I don't know if it's true or not, but somebody had said that the reason why he has it shaken, not stirred, is because then there is more water content in it. And as a spy, he's trying to get less drunk.
Makes sense.
Okay.
Sounds like bullshit, but I heard that one time.
Does sound like bullshit.
I will say Daniel Craig had an amazing entrance to the London Olympics.
Oh, yeah.
He like came in on a rope on a helicopter in the opening ceremonies back in 2020 or whatever.
Didn't they have the flag behind him too?
Yeah. That's what I know about Bond.
The only thing I remember from that Olympics was Mr. Bean.
Yeah. Prominently featured.
Fun fact I just learned, so we're all familiar who Bond is based off of.
Yes.
Christopher Lee.
What? No.
Yeah.
Okay.
The actor Christopher Lee.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Bond's biggest fan.
Okay.
Bond is based off of Christopher Lee's life. Vaguely.
I thought it was actually after Ian Fleming.
Yeah, Ian Fleming
who was actually
he was
Secret Service.
Yeah, it's him. He's doing a fan fiction of his own life.
Well, here's a quote from Christopher Lee.
Okay.
In my opinion, and I think I know as much, if not more, about James Bond than anyone in the world, particularly about the characters on whom Ian told me Bond was based.
Okay.
Pierce Brosnan was by far the best and the closest to the character.
Oh, so this guy's off his rocker.
Looney and stupid.
I don't.
Listen, he told me that it was me, as I can only know because I was told. Actually, it's pretty interesting because if you read the books, like that line about the vodka and like how he writes that, there's more description of what Bond eats than anything in anything. It is, and then I had a couple of sandwiches, and they were cut with the crust in a certain angle from the left and to the right, and the bread was this, and this was that, and this very sing-songy about lunch is what James Bond books
I like
are.
that.
Yeah, you would probably really enjoy it. You would probably really enjoy it. It's a lot. Like you get told what he has for every meal of every day of the book. All right, should we move into something a little bit less action-packed?
Sure.
but yet just as action
I
packed.
was going to say, what other options do we have?
Ladies and gentlemen, Talladega Nights.
Dear 8-pound, 6-ounce, newborn infant Jesus. Don't even know a word yet. Just a little infant and so cuddly, but still omnipotent. We just thank you for all the races I've won and the $21.2 million. Woo! 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 Ow! Love that money. Also, due to a binding endorsement contract that stipulates I mention Powerade at each grace, I just want to say that Powerade is delicious and it cools you off on a hot summer day. Thank you for all your power and your grace, dear baby God. Amen.
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 Let's dig in.
That was a hell of a grace, man. You nailed that like a split hole.
I appreciate that. I'm not gonna lie to you, it felt good.
Oh my goodness.
Did anybody get a chance to watch this one?
No.
Okay.
I remember everything about
Yeah,
this movie.
it's hard not
Who
to.
hasn't seen that one?
Yes.
I
4,000
haven't,
times?
but you shared a clip with me from Rich Eisen,
Yes.
and Sam Darnold referenced Talladega Nights in his post-game press conference because he didn't know the players lifted him up
Yes.
on their shoulders. He didn't know what to do with his hands. So he like started.
Sam Darnold, quarterback for the Minnesota Vikings, said, in my very Ricky Bobby moment.
Yep.
Yeah. Takes on Talladega Nights. Let's hear it. We'll start with Jesse.
Oh, yeah. That was that era of comedy was something else. And that was that whole trope of movies that just with those similar actors. And it's actually one of John C. Reilly's first like full-on comedy flicks.
Yeah.
Because he was more of a like action and drama actor.
Very
before.
drama.
Yeah.
He was into a lot of Paul Thomas
Anderson.
Yep. So he's in Boogie Nights.
He was in Boogie Nights.
Magnolia. I just said Magnolia with Tom Cruise's hair.
Casualties of War with Michael J. Fox.
Oh, wow.
That was his first movie, actually.
Okay.
Gangs of New York.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
he
you
was
forget
good in
about that.
Yeah. Oh, The River Wild. Remember that one?
Yeah, it is crazy because you think of him now as being more of a comedic actor.
No, you
Like-
see, but you know,
Yeah.
his whole first part of his career was like drama and action, small bits.
And then he realized that his face looks funny.
It's almost like Will Ferrell just brings out the humor in people.
Yeah, 'cause
right.
this
Like
was
Vince
their
Vaughn, like
first pair up.
semi-serious,
Yep.
and became a great comedic actor.
Yep. And there was a lot of money in it at this point.
Yep.
Right. So why not make the shift? To
Yeah,
where
our
there's a-
generation likes to laugh. The current generation, not as much.
Not so much. Not so much. They like. There's a new movie that's a bioepic, which we talked about before we got started. I hate bioepics, but
Isn't it biopic?
biopic?
The Bob Dylan one is epic.
Biopic.
Oh, okay.
It's a biopic.
It's biopic.
Anyways, biopic. There's a movie where the character is a monkey. It's like this
What?
generation has lost their fucking minds. But fun movie, Talladega Nights.
If you're not first, you're last.
Yes.
I teach my kids that regularly.
As you should. As you should. I went back and watched this one, and I have always held this one a little bit lower on my list of Will Ferrell movies. And I remember why, and I was reminded of that while I was watching it. But this is a very funny movie, and it does hold up. You're not first, you're last. I'm gonna actually come out and say that because that's Gary Cole, who plays
his dad.
yeah, that plays Reese Bobby, and man, so he's also Lumbergh in
Office Space.
Office Space.
Yeah.
He might be two of the best
Villains.
yeah, because he is a villain. Yeah, he is the
Comedic
villain.
villains.
Yeah, comedic villains of comedy history. Like honestly, when you go back and you watch it, because you kind of forget, right? You're like, oh, his dad's just kind of
Just deadbeat.
Yeah, but his dad is actually the bad guy in the
He's
movie.
actively making Ricky Bobby a bad person.
Yeah, he is actually the bad guy, and he does it so well. It's very quotable, like unbelievably quotable. And you said it. The scene with I don't know what to do with my hands, immediately started laughing again, and I knew it was coming, right? But the timing of it is so well. And then they do where like he just keeps doing it. So you get the first, like he doesn't know what to do with his hands, but then as he's talking, his hand keeps creeping up and the guy keeps pushing it back down. Like that's fucking hilarious. It's a very funny movie. I do have one major problem with it. Should we talk about that or should we keep going on?
No, let's hear it.
I think that Sacha Baron Cohen ruins this movie.
You know what's funny is I was just going to say the opposite. I thought he
Hmm?
did a good job in that
Really?
movie.
I hated it.
Yep.
Did you?
Yep. I think he ruins it.
I think it's the worst fake French accent I've ever heard in my life.
I think it's supposed
and
to be.
I just watched The Pink Panther last night.
Oh, God.
Also 2006.
I want to buy a hamburger.
Hamburger.
The burger.
Yeah, and you said that movie sucks. Look at how much fun we're
I
having.
didn't say it sucks. I said it's terrible. I said that movie's terrible.
No, the hamburger bit throughout the whole film is
Actually,
fantastic.
that's probably the only thing I remember about that movie.
For
It was
me,
cheesy.
I understand that he's doing a shtick. It's terrible. It's hard to listen to. It detracts from the movie because Will Ferrell's like Texan, I would call it. It's very Texan accent because it's the same one he uses for George W. Bush.
Oh, yeah, totally.
But I agree with pubes here.
Oh man, I was waiting for that.
Sacha Baron Cohen can do great impersonations and great accents. If he wanted to do a good French accent, I don't think it would be very challenging for him. I think he intentionally tried to make it
He did.
ridiculous.
He was hamming it up.
That's
for
fine.
sure.
That's fine. But this is like you said last time you were on. John Candy wanting to do a German accent
Wouldn't have worked.
Wouldn't have worked. It doesn't work. I think it sounds like shit. I just rewatched the movie. It sounds like shit just as much as I thought it did then. The only thing I will say is that he's not in the movie that much, so it's nice.
Yeah, he doesn't play a huge role. Just
Well, I thought it was. Looking back on this was like, oh, I hated Sacha Baron Cohen in that, and I love Sacha Baron Cohen. I thought, oh, he's the bad guy. It's going to be nothing but him the whole time, and I'm going to be driven nuts. He's only in the movie for like 5 minutes.
The only time we ever talk about Sacha Baron Cohen, you talk about how much you hate him.
No, I
Read
love
Ollie G into House.
all of that.
And now we
terrible.
have Talladega Nights.
Ollie G, the television show, fantastic. Ollie G in the House, Mount Rushmore of terrible. I had no idea, Gabe. So I thank you for letting me know that because I had no idea how bad it was. Turns out, god awful. I actually really liked this movie. I laughed multiple times. I thought it was going to be dumbed down NASCAR nonsense. The best bits are them making fun of commercials.
Right.
So it's not NASCAR-y. It's
or when they put the the sponsor sticker on the windshield.
this is actually dangerous.
Yeah, the jokes were more on how corporate and
Yes.
corporate sponsors and all that, and
Yeah, it
not
was-
that they're a bunch of rednecks driving cars.
Yeah.
It was good.
Yeah, I thought this was going to be dumbed down, lowbrow, redneck humor, and it's not. It's more corporate. You know, it is a sports movie. Very interesting that it has the announcers and some of the racers, which directly ties it to the movie Cars. Like you're hearing literally the same voices announcing things, which is really weird because Cars came out the same year.
Yeah, that is kind of strange.
And also it does a lot of sponsored jokes as well. So very similar films to come out at the same time. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. I thought this movie was very funny. There's a lot of slapstick humor, but not as much as I thought. My favorite bit back in the day was the knife in the leg.
Yeah.
that's right.
When they stuck the second knife in to get the other knife out, I was like, that's the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life. You got to dig out the flesh, cutting the one knife out with another knife. That's fantastic. So really enjoyed it. Molly Shannon's in it as well. David Kushner's in it. Jack McBrayer, is that his name? From
30 Rock?
30 Rock?
Yeah.
Literally plays the exact same character.
He always plays the exact same character.
Yeah, he's
the super innocent. He did the same thing in Forgetting Sarah Marshall.
And Wreck-It Ralph.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, weird.
Although in Wreck-It Ralph, he ends up being the villain.
I think he was in 30 Rock, too.
Maybe Immortal. Maybe. The smallest appearance ever of Andy Richter. which is weird because I like Andy Richter. So that was a weird. He just plays Sacha Baron Cohen's.
Oh, sorry. Speaking of smallest appearance of anybody ever in Mission Impossible 3, Jesse Pinkman.
Yes,
from Breaking Bad. He's in it for about 8 seconds.
Yes.
Yeah. Tom Cruise calls somebody to find out where his girlfriend is, and Jesse Pinkman picks up the phone. And he's like, "Oh no, your friend called and was looking for her too." And he's like, "What?" And he hangs up, and you never see him again. Like, he shows up on the screen. I was like, "Oh, it's Jesse Pinkman."
That's fantastic. All right. Lastly, on Talladega Nights. So when we had done the Dodgeball episode, we had talked about the commentary on Dodgeball.
Mm-hmm.
When we did 40-Year-Old Virgin, the commentary on that.
Uh-huh.
On one of the videos that I posted, one of our shorts that we had for the DVD commentary, someone said Talladega Nights has the most absurd commentary. So I went and watched the commentary for Talladega Nights. Turns out it is now officially the most bizarre commentary I've ever seen.
Who's on it?
So there are two of them. Both of them have Adam McKay.
Mm-hmm.
The one has Ian Roberts in it, which just...
That's random.
Yeah, random. Plays Kyle in the movie, but it must be higher up with Adam as well. They just do a shtick where they're pretending it's the greatest movie that's ever been made and that it's on the hierarchy of top 5 films.
Of cinema history.
They're talking about it as though it is the Citizen Kane of its generation. And they go on for an hour and 20 minutes about that. And then the other one is Will Ferrell. And it starts off and it's just Will Ferrell and Adam McKay. And they're pretending that it's
like 20 years in the future.
It's the 25th anniversary of the film.
Yeah.
And it's not even Adam McKay, it's Adam McKay's son because Adam McKay has died.
Right.
So bizarre. John C. Reilly calls in and he's the captain of it. I believe he's in the Army and they're defending Michigan against Ted Nugent of all fucking people.
Wouldn't he be leading Michigan?
I would have thought he would be leading Michigan, but I believe they're defending Michigan against Ted Nugent.
We're defending this hill.
So you are in combat right now.
Well, we just had a big skirmish with the Nugent militia. And I'm happy to report we have killed Ted Nugent and have skinned him.
That is fantastic.
Just bizarre. I didn't make it through the whole thing, I will admit. But
I put it on as I was going to sleep last night, so I don't remember much about that. But I hopped around a couple of different places through it tonight, and I think you could do that perfectly fine.
Yes.
For the commentary. Doesn't matter because it's all fucking made up.
Yes.
And it's all just like, they're all just improv-ing.
Yes.
What's the Michael Clark Duncan?
Yes. Yep.
He shows up on the commentary at one point and he's like leading like this spiritual yoga something or other. And
and they just go along with it. Whatever someone says, they just go along with.
It's just an improv class. An hour and 40-minute improv class.
I want to watch that. I mean, just an hour and a half of McKay.
Yeah, that sounds hilarious.
Yeah, I don't think that McKay went into it thinking that he was going to be his son. I think Will Ferrell made him his son.
Probably looked over at him like,
and so then for the next hour and 20 minutes, he then was like, "Oh, I guess I'm Douglas,"
referring to my dad.
Yeah, 100%, dude.
So bizarre, so bizarre. So I want to thank the listeners for putting that out because it was just a random comment on our Instagram. It's like, you got to watch this, and it's the only reason I did. I probably never even would have got to it, and very happy I did.
Yeah, super interesting.
Wow.
I laughed a handful of times just in the 5 minutes of popping around listening to him. It was good stuff.
Has nothing to do with the movie.
Not at all. It's completely its own thing.
Yeah, normally they talk about the production and all that stuff.
It's very reminiscent of Venture Brothers commentary.
Yes.
You just listen to all these people that created the movie just go on about whatever the fuck else they want to talk about.
Except in this case, it's all made up.
Right, yeah.
Unbelievable.
25th anniversary.
All right, shout out to Cars. It's my son's favorite Pixar movie because he was 4 years old when it came out and got all the cars and then grew up watching it. So
widely renowned as the least popular, the worst Pixar series.
And probably rightfully so.
I don't know why you gave it 4 or 5 or however many it had. I think it's only 3, but the first one was great.
It's good. It's good. I mean, it's good.
It's
right?
good.
It's good.
Dave texted me last night. He said, we need a Cars bit as well. I said, Cars sucks. There's my bit.
So there you have it, folks. Cars.
Not that it sucks, but it's as far as the quality you expect from Pixar movies, it was very mediocre.
It's what I expected Talladega Nights to be. I expected Talladega Nights to be lowbrow hick humor, which is what Cars basically
But it doesn't need to be anything special. Because all it is a cartoon about cars, so you can sell toys. You can sell toys, and it fucking worked.
Did very well. Well, speaking of the lead actor, Owen Wilson, there was another film in 2006 with another Wilson.
Oh, I thought you were going to talk about Night at the Museum.
Nope, we're going to talk about Idiocracy.
Luke Wilson plays Luke Wilson.
Yes, he does. He doesn't even have a wig on. He didn't even get a chemist to straighten his hair. He just was himself.
Yeah. So the most average guy on earth goes into an experiment for 1 year, but everything goes to hell with the
project
agency.
The general ends up getting the project pulled.
Yeah.
And they just like basically leave him there. Or throw him in the trash or whatever.
Throw him in the dump. Yeah.
It is
cryogenically frozen.
It's Futurama.
Yeah.
Only the movie.
Sure.
It's good. Actually, it's almost not comedy. It's more documentary status these days.
It's weird. It's a little weird.
It's a lot. I know we don't talk about politics, but in politics, idiocracy comes up a lot. Like everybody thinks the other side nowadays is just stupid, and they're so intelligent.
Yes.
But when you make that accusation, what you don't understand about the movie Idiocracy is everybody's a retard.
Yes. And now you say that, Gabe, but
there isn't a sect of people who are intelligent.
No, the entire populace is completely stupid.
Yeah. Yeah. The language in the film is very heavy on fag and retard.
Yeah,
very
much
heavy.
so.
Very heavy.
Talks like a fag.
Very heavy. Very heavy.
See, now we call that a period piece.
Yeah. Honestly, very heavy on it.
Yeah.
Gabe, you're a huge fan.
Huge fan.
You are a huge
of
fan
the movie or those words?
Yes. I gotta say, this is the last time I watch Idiocracy. I've consumed my appropriate level of Idiocracy. Not that it's bad. It's not bad. It is exactly what I thought it was.
Okay.
It's funny. There are good laughs to be had. All of the stuff that is like, oh, that's comical. It's all, like you said, it's all in the news now because everybody's saying, oh, the other side is this, the other side is this. So all of the good bits are just fucked out now.
Yeah.
Beyond belief. But it's an interesting watch.
And Maya Rudolph does a fantastic job. I don't know why she doesn't get more movie roles.
Maya Rudolph is so fucking hot in that movie.
It's weird.
That's all.
I don't like it. I remember seeing that and being like, I don't like this. Why am I attracted to you? You're not supposed to be an attractive person.
I was so distracted by her being hot that I was like, she's not, right? But she's not, right? And then she'd come back on the screen. I was like, no, she's fucking hot. Maya Rudolph's fucking hot.
It was very confusing.
Yeah, when she first came on and was like, oh, she's a prostitute, I was like, terrible casting. What are you casting Maya Rudolph as a prostitute? And then 15 minutes in, I was like, fuck, I'd pay Maya Rudolph.
Yeah.
I'd pay her.
What was the pimp's name? I always loved that.
Upgrade.
Upgrade.
Double D.
Something like 3 Ys or something.
There are some very funny bits. I wish he would have leaned a little bit more into the Hitchhiker's Galaxy type of thing because the tattoo machine. I wish some of that would have been more Dr. Seussy a little bit. A little bit more comical in the structures they created.
Well, have this.
It's so terrible. Man. But one of the things that happens in the film is he has his barcode on his hand. They're driving in the car. The sensor scans it. It immediately comes into the car and says, hey, you're
not sure.
You're harboring not sure the fugitive. And then it stops the car. Hey, folks, welcome. Because that's real.
Well, that's where we are now. Every car can be shut down.
And it will be. Right now, they're currently not shutting you down. You go all electric, because you can, combustion engine's pretty tough to like completely shut off, right? You can.
Oh, they still have computers that you could
you could, but like if and especially like
but
you had
you
a
can
clutch
deprogram that.
Yeah.
Oh,
And if you had a clutch, you could
basically you program an engine now. You get a detune from the factory, and you can go in there and mess with stuff.
Yes, the electric engine though I would assume would be a little bit more difficult to do that. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's just going to happen, and it's going to happen on a regular basis where you will be scanned, they will know what you're doing and why you're doing it, and that stuff is very interesting about this film.
Very much so, because a lot of the dystopian is real and is coming.
Very real.
The not sure bit. When he's getting the barcode. And they're asking his name. That is wordplay perfection.
That pops into my head all the time, but never in a context that I can actually use it.
Yeah.
Anytime somebody says they're not sure, or like just the words "not sure,"
Yeah.
They say, no, my name's not sure.
Damn it. So we can continue on with Idiocracy. I will say that
it gave us Crocs.
Yeah. They picked the dumbest shoe they could find.
They went for
the
that's what
dumbest
they were
shoe they could find.
Yeah.
And now everybody's got
wearing
them.
Crocs.
Yeah.
Like, this is stupid. Nobody would ever fucking wear these. We'll put them in our movie. It'll be hilarious. Oh, nope. Turns out everybody fucking loves them.
Oh, wow. They're so easy. Just
my favorite thing ever was I used to do water treatment, and I was a vendor for Costco.
Okay.
And I'd have to go and do road shows there and sit and...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd usually get pretty bored doing it. One of my favorite things to do is when someone walks by, I go, "Welcome to Costco. I love you."
Jesus Christ.
Fucking gigantic Costco.
Oh, yeah, there's stuff like you can see the shelves are like holding each other up and stuff.
What a great movie. I recommend everybody go watch
Just
Idiocracy.
the sign of Fuddruckers slowly changing over the years.
Fuddruckers.
Fuddruckers. Butt fuckers.
That's what it landed on at the end.
I do really enjoy that. Because I thought that's where it was going to go, and then it didn't. And I was like, "Oh, you missed a clear joke there." And then, oh no, it does.
It got there.
And then they show it's a kid's birthday party in the window of butt fuckers. Like, come on.
Well,
man,
even like the kiosks and stuff, you know, that talk to you and stuff. Like Carl's Jr.
That
thinks
food
you're a
is coming.
bad parent.
So, okay.
We celebrate Mike Judge on this podcast.
I'm not saying it's a bad movie, because it's not a bad movie. But it is a movie that you can only watch so many times. I don't know how you have seen this movie as many times as you had, because I have consumed all of the buckets of lard that I need to consume.
I don't waste my time with James Bond.
Speaking of accents, like the Dak Shepherd,
man.
I could do a little bit less of the in his accent, just a little bit less of that would have been real good for me, real good. Yeah, but fun movie. The plot, it is interesting because it does voiceover throughout the whole thing, which is an interesting way of doing a film, but it works very well for this. Yeah. I was surprised at how well it works.
You have to explain it to us because we're all retards.
Yeah. But I liked, even in the instance where, and spoiler alert, he has to try and figure out why the crops aren't growing, and then figures out why they're not growing.
I love the hand. It's got what plants crave.
But it's got electrolytes.
It's got
got what plants crave.
But him not knowing why, that was very satisfying, where it's like he understands this is a bad idea, but doesn't know why it's a bad idea. And then the announcer's like, yeah, he was right. And he had no idea why he was right, but here's why. I liked that. It was a fun way of like, okay, in order for us to continue this plot, explain to me, like, because I'm an idiot. I mean, I get it. You can't put Gatorade on freaking plants. I get that. But why? Why can't I put Gatorade on plants? which was satisfying.
Well, yeah, because even the water fountains had Brondo coming out of it.
Right. Yeah. Can I just get some water?
Yeah, you mean like the toilet?
From a toilet.
So again, I think that you guys enjoy shitty accents and people talking like morons a lot more than I do, because that was the stuff that really detracted from this.
Yeah,
it was
we're
like,
fucking highbrow, bro.
I was like, this is probably a really funny script. Can we do it without the whole fucking time? Very funny. I did enjoy it, and thank you for that, because Maya Rudolph is way too hot in this. Way too hot. Hats off.
Yeah.
Hats off.
Favorite line from Idiocracy?
Yeah.
Go away, Baton.
That was
That's what the cops knock.
Go away, Baton.
They had the Baton channel.
The
Baton channel.
Yeah, he's masturbating.
Open up, it's the cops. Go away, Baton.
Watching Ow My Balls.
Yeah.
So fucking stupid.
Which there's another thing. There's all the videos today. Just people kicking each other in the crotch.
Oh, yeah, that was prime time
Ow My
television.
Balls.
Yeah.
Oh, when you say that, it's not balls, but my favorite, honest to God favorite, and I hate to say this because I've really got to stop saying this, but I like to go on Instagram and watch people get hurt, mostly on bicycles.
Skateboards and bicycles are pretty good.
Skateboards are good, but it's a lot of ankle injuries.
Like the booby-trapped bicycles, people stealing
Oh,
bikes.
the bait bikes? Yeah, where the spike comes out? Yeah.
That's
or
one.
it's attached to
That's
the
a bit
wire.
much, but like the rope, sure.
Yeah,
the
the rope
knife
is
up the
good.
butthole, I'm not as like about.
Oh, sodomy. I don't use Instagram for that. So I like when adults get on bicycles and think that they can do things that they shouldn't.
Yeah.
And you're like, that's a bad idea. And it turns out to be a bad idea. But I actually really like it when it's kids too. Because
I'm sorry, that's
the
same way.
the kid-
It's extra funny when it's a kid.
Because it's the same thing every time. It's like, that's a bad idea, but you're a kid and you're stupid. And then you do it, and then there's like this pause, and then they cry.
Yeah.
And that part makes me laugh every single time. The pause is what it's like, are they gonna? Oh, I knew he was gonna cry. You little baby. You shouldn't have done that. Carl's Jr. says you got bad parents.
Oh.
All right, folks, we're going to go ahead and get out of here. We were going to talk about The Fountain. I'm going to leave that when we have Kevin Yeager come on. I'll do that because I got some really fun stuff about that movie. And then also Children of Men. We'll save that one as well because those are two more just really good movies.
Yeah, I spent so much time consuming Children of Men and Children of Men related content.
Okay, well, we're going to do
That
it.
almost went to a bad place.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah, they were on bikes, falling.
Hello. So in a couple of months, we'll come back when we do the wrap up for the 2000 movies, and we'll talk about both of those as well. So thank you to Jesse.
Thanks for having me again.
Yeah,
Always a blast.
Absolutely. Thank you to the Boutros.
Yes, watch Children of Men. It's a fucking great movie.
It is unbelievably good.
It's great post-apocalyptic.
Yes.
I've never seen that.
You need to watch
go
it.
watch
You
it.
need to
Great
watch it.
movie.
And thank you to Gabriel Johnson.
Thank you, Dave.
All right, folks, we'll be back next week with a game or something. I don't know what we're going to do next week. We'll be back next week, folks. And then, start getting ready for 2007 already. Start sending us what you'd like us to watch for that because we got to get started sooner on those.
Pivoting Piven for
Yes.
2006?
I had one, but it's 2007.
Okay.
So Jeremy Piven is in a movie in 2006. I never saw it. So we're going to do the Pivoting Piven, which I think is the last one. I think we're going to pivot on the Piven.
He's fully pivoted.
I think we will fully pivot in 2007. So, all right, folks, we'll be back next week. And until then, we're done. All right, so before we go, we got to talk Grandma's Boy.
Yes.
Yeah. Another one. It was so stupid. I love the hell out of that movie.
It's one that just came out of fucking nowhere because it was after fucking dud after dud after dud of Happy Madison movies.
Oh yeah.
So Grandma's Boy comes around and you're like, everybody, it's just like whatever. It's another B-rate, whatever.
And starring his buddy,
right?
You know,
his buddy and Nick Swardson.
Yeah,
that was one of Nick Swardson's first big comedy movies, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen it. I don't even think I know
Really?
it
You've ever seen Grandma's Boy?
Oh my God!
Oh, you've got to watch that movie.
Here you go. There's Grandma's Boy for you.
You've got to watch that movie.
Well, that's the unrated version too.
You will laugh.
Yeah, so first of all, it's about video games, which is fun.
Yeah.
Because at that point, nobody had really done a good video game comedy.
No, and that was right when the original Xbox was really
Yep.
hot, and that's what they're
360,
basically playing it on.
Yeah.
A lot of the games and what they're developing for.
Yeah, there's a lot of video game nonsense in there as well, which I also find kind of fun. You know, like, the third level of blah, blah. You know, like that type of stuff is kind of fun. But the actual comedy in it is very well written.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's a really, really funny movie. What's the guy's name? JD?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
he reminds me of so many people.
So many people.
Yep.
Everybody knows that guy.
Yep.
Everybody knows that guy.
How can you see
The funniest it is. I will say that not just in this movie, that is one of the funnier bits to any comedy. He's lined up against the wall.
He just spreads himself up against the wall.
I think
she walks by or something. She's like, "Oh, hey, JD," or whatever, and he's like,
and he lifts up his coat collar thing, and she just walks past him. He goes, "You're fucking weird, dude."
Yeah, well, that's what it was. You're fucking weird.
and once they're gone, he just goes, "How did they see me?"
Yeah, because that was what Linda Cardellini.
Yes. Yeah. Wow.
Total babe.
Good for you.
That's why I remember that
wow.
one, because I've always had
JP is
because he was in Dodgeball.
Yeah.
He's big and important.
Yes.
In this company, and he
knows it and he flaunts it.
And he knows it and he flaunts it, but he's just a nerdy douche.
Yes.
Let's not forget the DDR moment.
Oh yeah.
That was the best. He just goes up there and crushes it.
Oh, high score. What does that mean?
Is that good?
Did I break it? We always liked when the guy first challenges him to DDR. He challenges him to Dance Dance Revolution, and he says, "Well, yeah, but we don't have DDR, so you're dumb."
And then they're all like, "Oh yeah."
Oh, how much do clothes cost in the Matrix, JP?
That's a good one too.
I was going to say that Nick Swardson is one of the writers on this as well. So written by this is basically a Adam Sandler movie written by his friends, starring those friends,
right?
Which is pretty cool, actually.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And they did a great job.
What's the
it's
main
a really
actor?
good
Adam
movie.
Covert? Alan Covert?
Alan Covert, yep. And then it's interesting that I would have thought Dante would have been involved in the writing, but he was not. But yeah, Nick Swardson is one of the writers on this as well. And it shows. Like when you have funny people do things, tends to be that they end up being good. So
he's a Minnesota boy.
He is Minnesota boy.
In fact, he was just at the last Vikings game.
He was at the last Vikings game.
Huge Vikings fan. He predicted us to go 15-2 this season. So all we got to do is win this week.
Although the only problem is he predicted that we would lose this last game.
Ooh.
So, but we would still be 15-2. So, pick your poison there. But yeah, fun film. I think, people, if you haven't seen it, check it out. It's worth a watch.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely.
How can he see